We do it every single night. We close our eyes and we take this incredible journey to a place we can't really control. But have you ever stopped to think about what's really going on inside your head when you fall asleep? It's definitely not as simple as flipping an off switch. So today, we're going to explore your brain's amazing round-trip journey to and from the world of sleep.
Okay, let's start with a feeling you totally know. The pillow is nice and cool against your cheek. You can kind of hear a car drive by outside, and then these weird thoughts just start drifting in and out. You might picture a cat or a lake, maybe just some random dots falling, even though none of it is actually there.
So what is going on there? Well, what you're feeling isn't your brain just shutting down for the night. No, it's a really complex, gradual journey from being fully awake to the depths of being unconscious, and then all the way back again. And, understanding that it's a journey, that changes everything.
Right, so let's start at the beginning. The journey into sleep. To even get there, your entire body and brain have to go through this massive transformation. I mean, we're talking about fundamental changes in your blood flow, your brain chemistry, and the very way your brain cells talk to each other. Now, for a long time, the scientific view of sleep was pretty simple, right? You were either awake or you were asleep. That's it, an on-off switch. But the latest science is showing us a reality that is way more interesting and nuanced. It turns out sleep is actually a spectrum.
And this shift in thinking, from a simple on-off switch to a gradual spectrum, is so important. It means there are all these fascinating states in between being wide awake and being in a deep sleep. And some of them, believe it or not, are incredibly useful.
And what's really amazing is that this in-between state wasn't just some scientific curiosity. For some of history's most creative people, like the artist Salvador Dali, it was basically a secret weapon.
So let's look at this strange but kind of brilliant technique that Dali used. He just knew there was something really special about that exact moment you start to drift off, and he came up with this very peculiar method to try and capture it.
So picture this. He's nodding off in his armchair, and as he starts to fall asleep, his hand would naturally relax. The heavy key he was holding would drop, and the clatter of it hitting the plate would jolt him awake. He was convinced this little trick let him grab the bizarre, dreamlike ideas from the very edge of sleep, which he'd then immediately use for his paintings, these incredible, surreal masterpieces just like this one.
This creative sweet spot that Dali loved, it actually has a name. It's called hypnagogia. It's that magical, kind of semi-lucid state where you've got one foot in the real world and one foot in a dream. This is exactly what he was hacking into. And get this, his weird trick perfectly illustrates a modern scientific discovery. A study in 2021 found that people who were woken up from this exact hypnagogic state were nearly 3 times more likely to figure out a hidden rule in a tricky math problem. So yeah, Dali was definitely onto something.
So, okay, we know what this journey is, but how does your brain actually pull it off every single night? Well, think of your brain as a big city. Falling asleep is like the whole city powering down for the night. Not all at once, but kind of one district at a time. The shutdown command starts deep inside, in the brain's city center, in parts like the hypothalamus. Then the thalamus, which is kind of like the city's main sensory gate, starts to close up shop, disconnecting you from the outside world. And finally, the cortex, think of it as the city's suburbs where all your conscious thought lives, it powers down in a wave, from the front to the back. And waking up? Well, it's pretty much the same process, just in reverse. And a whole lot faster. It's like the city roaring back to life. An arousal signal fires up from the city center, the thalamus throws open those sensory gates, and the cortex lights back up, bringing you back to the world.
But what happens when this really carefully orchestrated sequence gets out of sync? This is actually where a lot of common and really frustrating sleep disorders come from. At their core, they're problems with the transition itself. Things like insomnia, sleep paralysis, even sleepwalking, they're often defined by this mismatch, right? Parts of your brain are awake when they should be asleep, or the other way around. The whole system just gets jumbled.
I mean, take insomnia. It's the classic example of this transition just failing. The power down sequence won't engage properly, and it leaves you mentally stuck in on mode when your body is desperate for a rest.
And sleep paralysis? That's a truly terrifying timing mismatch that happens during the wake-up sequence. Your cortex, your conscious mind, comes back online before the parts of your brain that control your muscles do, and that creates that horrifying experience of being fully awake but completely unable to move. By understanding these as transition failures, researchers can now find much more targeted ways to help get the brain's timing back on track.
So ultimately, all of this shows us that sleep isn't just one thing. It's this dynamic, incredible journey that different parts of your brain take every single night. And that leaves us with a really deep question to think about. If parts of your brain can be asleep while other parts are awake, what does it really mean to be conscious at all?